one of the rhythms that in many ways we have lost as a technological, electrical society is the rhythm of the moon. The moon brings the brightest light during times of darkness. But in many ways, more importantly, it brings multiple nuances of light. Until the moon disappears, it's the brightest light in the sky in the night. When the moon's gone, we get to experience the complete absence of this influence. And then 12 steps of increasing light. To be present with this is to learn the revelation of the self. That which is in shadow is that which we do not see by the light of the day. That which is in shadow is that which is out of the light of our conscious awareness. That which is in shadow can be brought into conscious awareness as we learn to tune in to the highlighting of the moon. In many ways, people have a rudimentary memory of how we worked with the moon, and some of the attitudes are a little backwards. In certain respects, it is very powerful to set intentions during the new moon, much like you plant a seed into the blackness of the earth, and then watch the light slowly grow to reveal different steps of enlightening to our initial intentions. And in many ways, the full moon is one of the best times to face the shadows, because it's the time when it's hardest for the shadows to hide in the night. One of the most incredible gifts of these cycles is that truly we can't ever really make anything that is our own disappear. When we respect that all aspects of our karma exist and resonate around us, we can begin to address this more directly. Everything that I am, everything that I have to take responsibility for is right here. And I just have to learn how to maintain the intention to look at it all. And it's during the full moon when in many ways this is most possible to change. There's a spotlight in the night. There's enough light to see facial expressions, reflections on the water, and even the movement of birds, bats, creatures of the night. And in this, to be present with a sense that it's not darkness that's bad. It's that things that are bad often hide in darkness so they won't be seen. Thus, the moon becomes our incredible ally to suggest during this phase, during this cycle, what is revealed. So to start with, prepare to have more energy, be inspired, question what might be coming to life that needs more of a breath. Presume that many of the negative sides of nighttime visions come from ostracism. To be ostracized is to cast out of yourself. But the power of our karma is we can't really cast anything out of ourselves. It's right here. So to be present with that and to say, now is the time. Now during the full moon is the time when I will bring my most conscious awareness into these spaces. Now, when we don't do this, we live in a way that will effectively, at best, waste a lot of energy. Wasted energy comes from trying to pretend that we are something we are not. So we are taking a strand of light that is our own and wrestling it. It's here, it's mine, but I'm going to look at it in front of me as if it's not mine. I'm going to see it over here, but I'm not looking at the connection. I'm just looking at this loop above. And because I'm just looking at this loop, I get to say, oh, wow, what's that? What's that thing? Why does this keep happening to me? Why do people like this keep coming into my life? As soon as you begin to embrace a sense of this paradigm of shadow and light, you start to look for the connection, this hoop of connection that's existed beneath the surface of your awareness. And the full moon is one of the greatest times to look for this. Now, when you're not looking, typically you see some other energy happening and you respond to it and you try to bring it into stillness. When you bring it into stillness, as we've discussed, at best, you've zeroed it. You've taken your energy and your energy, pitted against itself, and now you've just lost all of it. But through the blessing and curse of harmonic awareness, you'll get triggered. This is what triggering is. Triggering means you've zeroed something, and then someone else comes into your territory, your space energetically, and they resonate the same resonance as this. So they make this louder. So all of a sudden, your initial force is not enough to keep it down, and it springs to the surface. And the petty tyrant suggests, you are the problem because you triggered me. And there's this interesting legitimacy because you wouldn't be triggered if there wasn't something present that amplified this initial energy. So it seems rational. I felt fine until I was in their presence. I felt fine until you stepped in the room. To be consistently aware of these patterns, though, is to realize they really are quite obvious. First of all, it involves settling. Zeroing means settling. You're settling for a less than full life. You're settling from a less than united expression. You're settling for trying to repress things in the darkness. And that settlement is a low-level goal. It's I've managed to get this under somewhat of control, and that's just fine. That's better than it used to be. Just let me have this. Now, we can have compassion for that. I certainly have compassion for that in myself. And yet, to make the shift to allow a trigger to be a revelation, a trigger to show me, wow, I was able to hold this down. I was able to hold this down. That's phenomenal. That's a huge achievement. It's just not meant to be the end. When people try to make this the end, they fail to celebrate the incredible success. It's not supposed to be the end, but it's incredibly crucial to learn how to bring a wild energy within yourself, a hyper, sick, wounded energy that is trying to reclaim the wild and bring it into a degree of stillness. But true wildness wants to bring you all the way back into coherence with nature. True wildness wants to bring you into your fullest, brightest, most empowered self, as healthy as you can be, as strong, as graceful, as quick. So the secrets to a transcendent life rest in this thing that seemed to be the problem. And to allow a trigger to shift away from blaming whoever triggers you and into, I now have an opportunity to engage this and to let yourself center on it. Now I know that this is part of me. This isn't just something out there that I'm projecting. This isn't just something out there that happens to me. This is me. How can I let this teach me? Well, to allow that to work is to make huge changes in our lives. It often means completely realigning. Just accentuating an appreciation for the cycle of the moon means that some days the moon is on the full moon is on a Wednesday, and some days it's on a Friday. We can't wait. We can't ask the moon to hold off on being so bright until Friday when I have the space to celebrate or deal with those intensities. We have to deal with them now. And if I deal with them now and I don't get much sleep and then I can't wake up tomorrow and do a good job at my crucial board meeting, then maybe I don't succeed so much at work. And this ripple effect means to face the truth of our shadows is to integrate the rhythms of nature, and to integrate the rhythms of nature may cause us to challenge the very foundations of the life that we've been living. You got to be willing to challenge the foundation of the life you're living in order to do all this. And to embrace that as hopeful is to go all the way into that depth of wildness where you say, this thing that seemed to be attacking me was trying to get my attention. This shadow isn't necessarily all bad, but it's not supposed to stay in shadow. To bring it into the light is to remove the shame, to remove the guilt, to remove the hatred and resentment of it, and to be able to sit in the darkness with a light. You're still in the dark. We're still feeling surrounded by spaces we can't see. So it's frightening. It's threatening. Nobody knows what's going to come out of these spaces, but there is a spotlight on us now. This moon shining down saying, let's take a look at this. And to sit with your shadow during such times is always to look beneath the surface. When you see a shadow like this, as if it's not you, it can masquerade as a terror, as a terrorist, as a abuser, as a malicious, murderous, ghostly zombie, blah, da, 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 da. When you see this connection is where the hurt came. I've never encountered a shadow that didn't spring out of a deep wound. A deep wound where someone was hurt so badly, they lost their faith in love. They lost their faith in trusting, going for their dreams. They lost their confidence. They lost their ability to even imagine a better way. They got driven towards survival and the belief that only focusing on survival will win in this world. And when you address those feelings, the feelings that were beneath the surface, the feelings that were held down, and are present with them, you learn to cry for yourself, cry with yourself, feel the tears or the angers, the rages that never got felt once upon a time when the wounding happened that led to such terrible cynicism. And when you let yourself feel those things, that's when the truth, the essence of this shadow can come out and dance and show you how to dream and be your best. And you'll find it doesn't stay shadowy. It doesn't stay nefarious. It doesn't stay malicious. It doesn't stay focused on dark, dreary themes. As long as you agree to see this connection, the fascination with the shadow doesn't stay in the darkness. It wants light. It invokes light. It brings light out from the center of you such that nothing can be hidden. And it's worth it.